What's up, people? Thanks for watching. My name is Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie. Finishing up ranking the 22 Dead albums released prior to Jerry's passing. The sort of official canon, not doing the one from the vault, two from the vault. I think 100 Year Hall might have come out before he passed. Not doing Gray Folded, that Dark Star compilation, or that Space compilation, which I can never remember the name of. Which was actually pretty good. But anyways, yeah, so these are the final four. 4, 3, 2, and 1. My favorite four Dead albums. I'm going to finish this list, and then I'm going to go start doing Zappa tours. Ranking my favorite Zappa tours. But anyways, thank you for watching. Comment below on your favorite albums, what you think about these albums. We've had some amazing comments with other people giving some awesome in-depth thoughts about the Dead albums. Check those out if you haven't. They are very interesting and may shed light on albums in ways that I have not, only because everybody's got a different favorite and like different things. So we all seem to agree that Shakedown Street is no good. So anyways, yeah, on to the final four. Thank you for watching. Here we go. Number 4. Number 4, Workingman's Dead. I will say that these top 4 are all nearly perfect in my eyes, except for usually maybe one. There's usually one track that separates 1, 2, 3, and 4. In this, there's only 8 songs on this. It's a mostly acoustic album, a single LP, 4 songs on side A, 4 songs on side B. Number of these songs would go on to be live staples. One of them would be kind of a rare once or twice a tour treat, which was phenomenal to hear, at least when I was seeing them. One of them made a surprising comeback in, like, I think it was early 90s, maybe 89, maybe it was early 90s. But yeah, it's just a phenomenal album. Came out in 1970. I think the title Workingman's Dead is very much the ethos of what they are about. You know, psychedelicness in the dead, hardcore working in the working man. But what you have here is, it's the first 7 songs which make an almost perfect album. And it is that 8th song, which I think is one of the great weird anomalies of the entire Dead catalog. So it opens up with Uncle John's Band, which is one of those songs which generally when I was starting to see it, it was usually early in the second set, never opened the second set, but it usually came out of a plan. Sometimes there was a Terrapin involved, Crazy Fingers. Sometimes they opened with it, but just those opening chords, when Jerry would start playing those opening chords in this and then do a little solo before those first vocals, just I think one of the best, most comfortable feelings I've ever felt. And I remember being at shows early on when I was going and expanding my mind while doing so. And there would just be like Dark Places and like playing in the band or something, or Crazy Fingers, and then Uncle John's would come out of it. It was just like, oh, this feels so good and so wonderful. Great opening track. High Time, a great Jerry ballad. Dire Wolf, a really fun song. New Speedway Boogie, a really good rocker that they didn't play live until they started resurrecting it towards the end of their career. Just a really funky little groove, apparently about the Altamont Speedway fiasco. Cumberland Blues, that is the one that would only pop up every so often when I was seeing them live. Great song, one of those everybody kind of sings along type thing. Bob gets a part, Jerry gets a part. Another one of those working man type blues type songs. A phenomenal song. Black Peter, one of the most devastatingly beautiful and gorgeous and painful and sad lyrics Hunter and Jerry ever did. How Jerry, as such a young man, could put so much old age pain into songs is just beyond me. Easy Win, the only Pigpen number on here. And then the song which has confused me for my entire life, Casey Jones. I don't think it's a bad song. It's not the worst song the Dead do. And it also maybe sounds like the Dead a little more than, say, any Brett Midland song or even Godshall song, but I have never understood Casey Jones as a Dead song. No, it doesn't sound like the Dead. I was wrong. It doesn't fit on this album, I don't think. I think it is completely jarring when it pops up. I think it would have been better on American Beauty, which was the sort of sister album to this. Definitely would have been better had they saved it for a couple years and say released it on Mars Hotel. I think it fits well on Mars Hotel, or maybe just throwing it on a live album. I just don't get this song. Like, I understand what it's about. It's about a train, driving that train high on cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch that speed. I understand it completely. But there was a point when I was growing up, when I first started like getting into the Dead. I knew this song. I knew Truckin'. I think that was it that was played on FM radio. Probably had heard like Sugar Magnolia, maybe a couple other deep cuts over the years. Probably had listened to an album on Jim Ladd's 7 Desert Island Discs. But when I really started getting into the Grateful Dead, like going to live shows, I was like, oh, Casey Jones, is there another band called Grateful Dead? Because that song sounds nothing like this incredible band I'm watching. This song, I don't particularly like this song, even though I don't think it's particularly bad. It just doesn't fit whatever need I have. And it just, for me, ruins. It is the last song on this album, and it is not the song I want. There's a song called Mason's Children, which also isn't a very good song, but I think kind of sounds more like the Dead. I think it was recorded during this, but just only played live and not used on this. That would have been a better closer. I don't know, just maybe something else. But the Casey Jones drops this from maybe one, possibly one, probably number 2, all the way down to 4. But the other 7 things are phenomenal. But yeah, that's it. Workingman's Dead. Just a great album, like 9.9 out of 10. Everybody should own this. It's Americana, country psych Americana at its absolute finest. And the lyrics to so many of these songs, Uncle John's Band, High Time, New Speedway Boogie, Black Peter, Cumberland Blues, just ridiculous. Really good album. Number 4. Number three, Without a Net. Grateful Dead, 1990. This is a 2-disc. I do not think there was a vinyl component. A 2-disc, though there may have been. I don't think there was a vinyl. I think it was just CDs. 2 discs, live, culled from October 89 through spring of 90. The disc 1 is meant to feel like a first set. Disc 2 is meant to feel like a second set. I think disc 2 is a little more successful than disc 1, though the songs on disc 2, though the songs on disc 2 are fantastic. Sound is amazing. This sounds like a really big, full, like panoramic, every sort of, there's noise or just Brent Midland's keyboards kind of wash everything. A lot of Jerry's MIDI sounds, the drums. Like, this is a really big, huge, late 80s, early 90s Dead sound. Completely different from like 77 and 78, where I think they felt a little more sleeker and a little more like ninja-like. This is like a big samurai warrior coming at you with full armor and a whole bunch of weapons. Just great performances, great track listing, just absolutely top-notch album. It came out right before the Europe 90 tour, so this was one of the, I think it came out in September. I left for Europe in like early October to see those 90 shows. So I bought this and put it on cassette, and this was the one cassette I had to listen to while I was in Europe. Though I did not listen to it on the day of shows. I have a strict rule about listening to the Dead on the day I'm going to see the Dead, or any band for that matter. But post-tour, in November, when we stuck around and traveled and went down to Spain and all that stuff, we listened to this a lot. But anyways, what is on it? It doesn't have, I can't look at it because, look, I was going to go through the CDs, but the CDs just have this creepy little clown on it. You know, sort of, what's his name? Yeah, Pennywise. So set 1, Feel Like a Stranger, the first disc, great Feel Like a Stranger, excellent jam, some really good Brent Bob vocal kind of going at it together at the end of It's Gonna Be a Long, Long Crazy. That part is excellent. Mississippi Half Step, song I could hear on every show, great solo at the end, positive energy. Walkin' Blues, this is the only one that maybe I kind of wish had been a different song, but they had already released Way Too Many Minglewoods. Little Red Rooster was on Dead Set. This was the third of the 3 Bob blues songs, so it makes sense that they would release it, though I think maybe releasing something else, but I don't know what he was doing in 89 and 90 that would fit on here. He was doing Dylan songs, but we didn't need another Dylan song. It's All Over Now maybe could have been on here, but I understand Walkin' Blues, so it kind of works, but not my favorite. Althea, oh, maybe one of the best live Althea versions. It just sounds fantastic. Great song. Cassidy with a really good jam. Birdsong with an epic jam in the middle of that. Has what I like to call the Pink Floyd Run Like Hell jam, where Jerry does these chords. Not maybe Run Like Hell. I think it's a song off Animals. I think it's the end of Pigs. Da-da-da. No, the end of Sheep. That's what it is. Gilmore has this, like, he plays these chords at the end of Sheep, and this bird song always reminds me of that end of Sheep jam from Pink Floyd. And then Let It Grow, which is also just near perfect. Every sound that Jerry chooses on his MIDI. Both jams are amazing. The jam where they switch and then they go into the dun 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 dun, dun. That part, those segues are all perfect. Everything about this is just note for note perfect. An almost perfect first disc. The second disc is all really good songs that would belong in a set too, but they don't have a drums or a space, and so you kind of, it feels a little off, but I think they did a good job of trying to sequence it as well as possible. Opens up with the China Rider, China Cat Sunflower into I Know You Rider. That's just indexes one track. Great versions of both of those songs. Looks Like Rain, which I guess is kind of cool. It's one of those, doesn't really do much, but the end of it is pretty cool with Jerry doing that, making the kind of the trilling rain sounds. Bob gives a good vocal performance. You get the Eyes of the World from when Branford Marsalis was sitting in. So you get that really long 16-minute Eyes of the World, which is beautiful. It maintains a pretty sort of sublime, sort of chill vibe, even though Marsalis is there, but it's still a pretty good performance. There would be wilder ones, but it's a solid showing. Victim of the Crime, love it, great. Every live version of this I think is worth checking out. This is one of those songs where I think I talked about this on Built to Last, where they never quite get the jam perfect, but I think that's what this song is meant to do, is to give you that, like, that junky need for more because you're not quite satisfied. It just they build and build, and the release is not really there, but it's so satisfying nonetheless. A Help Slip Franklin's, it's 20 minutes long. Great Help Slip, great Franklin's, good jam and Slipknot. One More Saturday Night, probably the one questionable choice on here, maybe for time reasons. I don't know how long disc 2 was. Would have been nice to have maybe a live Throwing Stones would have been pretty sweet to hear. That may have been too long. I don't know. And then a Dear Mr. Fantasy with Brant and Phil on vocals, right? Phil does the vocals also on here. Just a great, cover of the Traffic song. A great way to end it. Brant had already passed away at this point, so he kind of gets the final word on this album, which is kind of cool. But yeah. Oh, and there was a vinyl release. Okay, so there was a vinyl release. I just read this. Yeah, so I only know the CD release. But anyways, yeah, an excellent, excellent, excellent compilation live album of 89, 90 stuff. Sounds very much like what the Dead sounded like in that era. If you like this album, this is like, there's a lot of other jams out there of these songs and similar songs from this era, but I think it's indicative of what the sound was like with Jerry using a lot of his MIDI sounds, Brent's sort of just wash of keyboards that he brought. But yeah, a really, really strong late era live showing. Number 3, Without a Net. Number 2, Live Dead. Probably the sort of quintessential live Grateful Dead performance, capturing a number of songs from early 1969, a double album. 2 of the sides are just one single song. I think this sort of has, quickly you get side A is a Dark Star, a 23-minute Dark Star. The second side is St. Stephen Into the 11. St. Stephen, I think, is one of their just a weird little song. Like, it's just got it always feels like there should be more energy to it, but it's always kind of restrained, but at the same time not. And it has some sweet little jams in the middle that aren't too long, but are just kind of going at it pretty hard. And then that slides effortlessly into the gorgeous 11. A Phil Lesh song, so it's a little more complicated and it demands a little more of the band than their normal songs. Got some weird trippy kind of psychedelic type dated lyrics, but it's still good nonetheless. Side 3 is how long is it? A 15-minute Turn on Your Love Light, which is probably edited down a bit, I would imagine. I don't think I've heard I know they've released the original source material from here. I'm pretty sure. So maybe this is the full 15-minute Turn on the Love Light. They probably weren't doing the longer ones till the following year. But a really good Love Light. So you get a lot of Pigpen kind of improvising stuff in there, and then the band just kind of jamming around there. There's a really good 30-minute Turn on Your Love Light on Dick Picks Volume 4, which it really is just them like, hey, let's jam. Hey, Pigpen, do some more improv. Hey, let's jam some more. Pigpen, you got more stuff to do. Hey, let's jam some more. Let's do both. And it's just the back and forth of that, and just the magic of the way they're able to sustain that. One over 15 minutes here, and then over close to 30 minutes or over 30 minutes on Dick Picks Volume 4 just shows the power of this band and just how locked in they were, and like how well they fed off each other, and just epic. And then the final side is Death Don't Have No Mercy. I was at that Shoreline show in '88 when they brought back Death Don't Have No Mercy for the first time in who knows how long. That was quite a beautiful moment. Then you get a Feedback, which is just, kind of the deepest, darkest space noise. And then a really short, only 35-second. And we bid you good night. Good night. Good night. You don't get the full, ground down here. You don't get that full whole on sing along. Just a little tease of that beautiful song. But just like a great live album. Late 60s, 69 Dead, live, fantastic. A lot of this, this is something that possibly could have fallen quite a bit because there have been so many releases from the 60s through Dick's Picks and Dave's Picks, and I think they released all of the Fillmore. There was a box set of Fillmore stuff. So there's been so much other stuff released out there, but this is still good just because the performances that were selected were so good. The track list is so good. And I really think the Dark Star is sort of the template for what the best Dark Stars are, and anything that strays from this template is sort of like, oh, yeah, this one didn't have that. But the template is essentially you start off with fooling around with the Dark Star theme, and you're kind of playing around it and just kind of, fiddling around and doing kind of spacey things. And then at some point you go into that intro, that da-dun, da-dun, you do the main theme. Everybody's like, all right, we're fully engaged now. But then you don't go into the lyrics for a while. You then go off and you solo, but you're still in, for the most part, Dark Star territory. You're heading toward the vocals, but you're still kind of exploring. Then you hit the first verse. Then after the first verse, it's like anything goes. Go where you want. You want to get heavy and jam. You want to go spacey. Whatever you want to do that for as long as you want. And then eventually you come back around and do the second verse. And then after the second verse, you kind of bring things down a little, but you wrap things up and you head off towards the next song. And I feel like that's the template for all successful Dark Stars. And there are some Dark Stars, like I've been listening to a lot of Dick Picks lately, like the Dick Picks Volume 2, the Halloween 71. That Dark Star opens up the second set. It starts off right away with, soon as they start, it's that da-dun, da-dun, they play the opening lick. And it's like, okay, they're just jumping right into this, right? And then there's like 8 minutes of solo before the first verse. But already the contrast between this version and that version, you kind of feel that, because you didn't have that sort of slow tease build up into it. So I feel this Dark Star really is sort of the platonic ideal of what Dark Stars should be. And yes, there are better ones, and yes, there are worse ones, but this one is just, you can hold this up as like a shining example of what the Dead can do live. 23 minutes and not a wasted second or note. It's just a phenomenal performance. And that energy just carries over through the rest of the album, and everything else is just flexing at that point, but it's some good flexing. So yeah, I have to recommend this. This is one of those, I would say these last top 4, Workingman's Dead, Without a Net, representing the end of their career, this representing their early career, and then number 1. Everybody should own those. Those are really just all music lovers should own those. Number 2, Live Dead. Now, number 1, what I think is the Dead's best album, by far. Not by far, I don't know why I said that. But I do think there's just not a bad note on here. And that is American Beauty, The Grateful Dead. Songs on here are phenomenal. The sequencing is phenomenal. It feels, it is not very jammy at all. I mean, there's really nothing jam-wise on here. There's no extended solos. There's no freak-out jams. There's nothing Dark Star-ish. It's just a whole bunch of really good songs sequenced in the perfect order. And it kind of feels like, it's 70, but it feels like a Psych, Crosby, Stills and Nash-ish, Neil Young-ish, band-ish. It kind of touches on all of the things that the Dead drew inspiration from, but at the same time, I think is the most uniquely Dead album that exists. Just, it is the perfect, this is what they do. And if you go see them live, they're going to expand upon all this and make it so much better. But here's the quality of songs. Opens up with Box of Rain. I'm a sucker for a good opening track. This is one of their best tracks ever. The lyrics are phenomenal. It's one of those amazing Hunter lyrics that have so many meanings to so many different people, yet at the same time, it's not so ambiguous that it just doesn't mean anything. It's just such a powerful song. Friend of the Devil, the fast little version, fun. Sugar Magnolia, again, no monster jam at the end, no rousing solo, just Sunshine Daydream, monster, none of that rousing farewell anthemic ending. Just a fun, good little pop psych song. Operator, nice little Pigpen number. Candyman, great Jerry song. Candyman is a weird, I'm not sure who he is. Doesn't seem like he's necessarily a good guy, but one of those great sort of mid-tempo Jerry ballads. That's side one. Side two, Ripple, another just iconic Dead song. Almost like too platonically ideal about what the Dead are about, and just too, almost too good. Like, so good, I'm glad they never played it. It was a very rare occasion when they dropped a Ripple into a Dead set, usually like fundraisers or special like acoustic tours or stuff like that. It's meant to be that way. This song is just like the Lord's Prayer of Dead songs. I don't know what that means. Broke Down Palace, another phenomenal, just kind of slow. The singing on this is beautiful. And just another one of those, where is this old age, this ethos coming from in the Dead? Till the Morning Comes, a little cute little pop psych number. Addicts of My Life, another one of those just like gut-wrenching kind of choral sing-along, beautiful Dead songs. I think I only got to see it live like once. They broke it out in the time I saw them, maybe twice. And then Truckin', just an anthem, like a legitimate Grateful Dead anthem to close the album. And it fits perfectly. It just fits perfectly, unlike Casey Jones on Workingman's Dead. But yeah, I have no complaints about this album. I think it's a great listen. I think anybody could like this. You don't have to be a Dead fan. I think anybody who considers themselves a serious music fan needs to own this album. It is just a perfect collection of like early 70s psych pop, country, Americana, just great music. My number one, American Beauty. Let me know what you think about these album, guys. I am done. I'm going to make one more video about my top 10 tracks from these albums because I have thoughts on those, or just because I want to. And then after that, I'm going to start doing Dead tours, but Zappa tours, I mean. But anyways, that's it. My number one, American Beauty. Let me know what you think. And if you do tell me what you think about these albums, don't forget to include where you rank them, Mr. Cohen. But anyways, also, if you enjoy my thoughts on these, read the comments. There are some awesome Dead fans out there who have been commenting and giving their sort of thoughts on these albums. Most of them differ completely from mine, but that is what has made this so enjoyable, is to hear other people's experiences with the Dead. But anyways, yeah, I'm done with this list. Thank you for watching. Again, take care. Have a good day. It rained here in Texas this morning, which is why now the sun is just coming out. So I'm off. All right. Bye, y'all.